All right, good morning. Welcome, everybody. I think we'll take some time for the regulars to arrive. It's Friday, TGIF. I have my fresh coffee ready. Hopefully you do too. Got a little bit of news to talk about today. Got a few articles to share as usual with the market. But before we do that, if you are new to the channel, always feel free, join in, check out, join in and ask questions. That's what we're here for. A great group of people can usually chime in and we get some great conversation here. If you're watching this on the replay, we do live streams Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. Go for about 45 minutes to an hour to about 9 o'clock. So good way to start the day and just kind of check in, see how the market's doing, see how our TFSAs are doing, and see where the conversation goes. That's always the name of the game here. So TGIF, and we'll just say good morning. A few people watching already, so that's great. It's Friday, so it's early. It's Friday. Hopefully, we're not all working too hard today. And good morning, happy Friday, Stan. Nice to have you here and back. Always as always. And yeah, so we'll start off with a bit of a channel update. I did a video yesterday with my portfolio, and I was having some issues with Wealthsimple updating the statuses on the alt, like on the 1 year and stuff. So that was kind of out of it, but the update is there with how the portfolio was doing in total, and went over my purchases that I did on yesterday. So I purchased, for those that haven't caught that video yet, it's obviously on the channel, but I purchased 5 shares of the Tesla CDR, which I said, and a little bit into VDY. So that was my day yesterday. So happy with the portfolio. It's doing okay. Looking at things today, it's I think on the week in general, we had kind of a not a great week. We'll probably end off the week down. I guess it's looking okay today. So if you're checking your portfolio, might be a bit of green out there if you're looking today, but that's the way it rolls, I guess, right now. That being said, I did do the community post yesterday, just kind of sharing what I purchased, and I always like to ask like little things what people are buying. So there's lots of people still buying. So there's some actually good comments there. Check out, if you after the live stream, check out the community tab, and you will find some other shares and ETFs that people bought. Some different ones on there for sure, which was it's always kind of fun to see what people are buying, and I always kind of Google them after and take a look and see what's out there. That might look good, but again, I'm not really thinking of adding anything to my new positions in the short term, anyways. But I did have some news, a couple of articles to share, and I like to try and find. Always like to find some good news. And Dinosaurs Rex, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again today. It's great to have you here. Yeah, that's awesome. Happy Friday. That's the theme of the day, TGIF. So let me just share my screen. I'll find this, and there's a couple of I think some things that people might be happy with. Grab that, and let's share this to the stream. So Vanguard, obviously a popular one with me. Obviously, I have my portfolio. I have BTC.Y, BFE, but they did the basically the release yesterday of what their estimated annual distribution. So we'll get a special, we'll get a distribution usually comes, I think, towards the end of December. So let me just go into here because it's actually kind of nice. So these can obviously change. But basically they will, I think they come up with a final one. Looks like estimates can change before the final date. Year end is December 15th. So basically what they'll announce is the final amount for this. They're saying about around December 21st. With the ex-dividend date being December 29th, so the end of the year. And then they will get paid basically the cutoff like for the end of the year, and it gets paid on January 9th. So there's actually some decent ones for if you're in. You might not be able to see this necessarily on the live stream because it kind of gets pretty small, but you can check this out if you just go to the Vanguard website, and you can actually see. So a good one obviously in the portfolio is the VDY. Estimated annual capital gain is per unit is $1.38. So that's going to be nice to get. It's always nice to have when you see these year-end ones kind of come in, like a nice little bonus coming in the new year, which is good. And then they do have Was VFE in there? It might not be in there yet. Sometimes they announce them later. No, I don't. Oh, VFE. Sorry, it is there. S&P 500 Index ETF, just over 7 cents. So some extra, some year-end dividends coming through for those two. And then if you have obviously other Vanguard ETFs, there's a whole list. I found this on Yahoo Finance, but you could obviously find this posted on the news of Vanguard. So that's always good to hear. And if there'll probably be some other, if you have other ETFs or something like that, I'm pretty confident you might get a little boost come the new year, which is always nice. It's nice to see those ones come in because some of them going to be quite large, which is good. And Zach, good morning, welcome back to the channel. So that's some good news for the day, which is nice. I need my coffee still early, and we will grab the next one. Let me just gotta share this here. And I've got a couple of pages. This came out yesterday, actually. So let me just share this. There might be some interest from a few people of the channel because I know one for sure had bought some of these shares. So let me just pull them up. And so there we go. So BMO, I'm going to hide you, Zach, there. And BMO is debuting new ETFs, so new technology funds. Managed by Kathy Woods by ARK. So there's obviously the ARK ETF investments that are in US dollars, but I guess obviously there's some ones now from BMO started. Now they just started trading, from my understanding, yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. But there's actually three. They're going to have 3 ETFs, and I pulled up actually the BMO website, so I can share that, and that might give a bit more. That gives a bit more details of what those ones are. And I'll share this for everybody to see, and we can kind of talk about these for a minute. It's hard. It's obviously hard to see sometimes. And let's see if I can. No, it's about as big as I think I can get it. They have 3 right now. BMO ARK Next Generation Internet Fund is ETF, ARK Innovation Fund ETF, and then the ARK Genomic Revolution Fund ETF. Now you can drill down into these. Obviously, very volatile, higher risk typically, but investing in companies, like, we can scroll down. You can actually see who their holdings are. Top 10. Like, so obviously a lot of tech in this one: Zoom, Block, Tesla, Coinbase, Shopify. So a lot of these might be in some of your ETFs already. But if we do go back and look at some of the other ones with the internet, and of course it blocks me right back out, is the Innovation Fund. Though I think we'll probably see a bit of overlap in terms of the holdings, but we can go down. This one's Zoom, same one, and then we'll go to the genome one, because that will probably be some different companies, more of the health type of companies. If you're looking to invest with that, let's scroll down, way down. So a lot of pharmaceutical companies in there that she invests in. So obviously not many holdings in a lot of these ETFs, so there'll be definitely some fluctuations in prices, but a good way, I guess, to go into and Canadian hedge some of if you're into that space. I forget who it was that was on the channel that did buy some ARK in the US ones. And Dinosaur's Wreck, that's a great question. We were actually talking about Rogers Sugar I think it was either earlier this week or last week. It's like the Dividend, like, locomotive. I've looked at that one actually, and it's like consistent. It's not very. It's just the stock that who was it that made a comment about it? I think pretty sure it was Candace. I forget how she termed it, but it was kind of like, it was just like, it's one of those things that's like, it's super boring because it doesn't do anything in terms of, like, really in terms of price, but it just consistently pays dividends, and it just does its thing. So I've actually had that one on my radar a little bit for Rogers. I haven't looked at it lately. I remember looking at it a long time ago, and it was on my watch list for a while. So yeah, I think it's popular. I think there's a few people, dinosaurs, that have that in their portfolios, if I'm not mistaken. They can, if anybody's watching that has it, jump out. Let us know what you think. I can pull it up and see if I can find a bit more Roger Sugar. It's probably been around the same like price. It's literally it's like, well, I mean, I guess if you're looking at 1 year, it's down a little bit, but not crazy. Not crazy changing. What are they just did their earnings. What did they, I'm just trying to see if they've dividends. Here we go. I think they do quarterly dividends, if I'm not mistaken. Quarterly dividend is 9 cents per share. They've probably done that. Let's go to their website and find out. It's probably been 9 cents a share for the last ever. Let me just find their website and see if we can find the historical earnings releases. Historical price. Yeah, let me pull this up. That's always a good one to share. Might actually go out and buy. And yeah, no problem. I'm just grabbing it right now. So just give me 1 sec. I got to find the share the screen. Everybody will go and buy Roger Sugar today. So let's pull that up. There it is. So let's move you out of the way there. And yeah, you can see that, I mean, obviously prices come down. This is the last, what is this? Let's do the last year, because so you can kind of see in terms of price, it did have a bit of a run up. Looks like in June, like everything else, right? And then coming down. But you can see here, if we go down and look at the dividends on it, it's literally been 9 cents quarterly since probably, this first page is going back to 2016. I bet you we can even go back further. 2011. It's been literally 9 cents. They must have had an extra dividend paid in 2013 of 36 cents, but it's literally, well, it's gone up. So it was 4 cents back in 2010, but it's been since the first quarter of 2011. Every month it's paid 9 cents. Or sorry, not every month. I'm corrected there. It's quarterly, 9 cents. So it's pretty consistent. And if we go back and actually look at the stock price, probably over like even 5 years, I mean, it's gone up over 5 years. So you've got a bit of cap, a bit of obviously some appreciation there, but not a ton. I mean, the amounts here are fairly fair. It's definitely not a huge like growth stock. In the past year, obviously we had that run up and then coming down, but yeah, it's literally traded between, in the last, let's go 5 years, between 450 and like 625. So not a huge. And if you've kept, that's the thing, if you had kept probably like one of these ones to like not necessarily dollar cost average, but like drip into this thing with your dividends is rolling them in. I think it's like a locomotive. It just kind of goes, but and without a ton of volatility, obviously, in there, which looks pretty steady. I guess I should maybe look at that and start adding that for a bit of kind of regular dividends and not a lot of movement in that. Might be a good long-term thing to kind of just hang on to, and like boring stock that pays dividends. I guess that sums up, I think, Rogers. Yeah. And good morning. Welcome, Jason. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee on that note. Thank you. So hopefully that helped a little bit. Dinosaurs Rex. I don't know. Do you own it? I guess, were you asking, or you're thinking of getting some? And if anybody's on watching, let me know in the comments if you own Roger Sugar, RSI. That's what we were just talking about, Jason, before you popped in. Yeah. It's come up. It's interesting how that one's come up twice now in the last week and a half. So it must be on people's minds for that. And I did have one last article, but I have to grab it. Oops, I just got to find it. And it's kind of all over the news. If I can find one. Where did it go? I always lose my tabs here. As soon as I start opening other ones too. There we go. And let's share this. Yeah, that was pretty much it. I mean, you're not going to have, unless there's, I mean, I guess unless there's like a run on sugar, I don't know, but it's been pretty steady for the long haul. I guess there's obviously not much volatility in price of sugar. I don't know, but they've been consistently paying these dividends for a number of years, as you can see, a number of years. So it's kind of like set it. And I think if you had enough to kind of start to be able to just drip into that every month with that share, you might be, or not, sorry, it's not every month, it's quarterly. Just keep reinvesting in it, and you'll probably not lose any. You're not going to lose, I don't think, not necessarily, but I think it's pretty steady and slow and steady. Yeah. So you don't, okay. Yeah. More split. So yeah, it's just a different. It's you'll probably find a lot. I remember when I was first kind of reading about Rogers and reading some of the, like, you go on forums and you find other websites and blogs talking about it, and everybody always has kind of the same thing. It's like it's just a whatever. It's not, you're not gonna make it, like, it's not gonna go to the moon, but it's just gonna consistently chug along and pay dividends every quarter. And maybe there's nothing wrong with that. And then when you decide to sell it, you probably won't be down. Maybe it depends, obviously, always, all the time, but you'll probably have come on good. And one last article, and then we can answer any questions. Obviously, jump in, fire them away. And this is kind of a big one. We've been talking about FTX for the better part of a week and a bit now, just a little bit. Obviously, we're not a crypto channel, but so the Ontario's pension plan had a I mean, what they're saying is a small investment in FTX, which is obviously now gone bankrupt, and they had $95 million invested, but they're kind of saying it represented less than 0.05% of its total net assets. So not necessarily a huge write-off for. I mean, it's obviously, you don't want to, you never want to lose money, but they are writing that off to zero. So people with an Ontario teacher's pension probably aren't happy. But I always find these interesting because there's always the back and forth, and Twitter is notorious for this, that people saying, why are they even investing in this space in the first place? And I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel like you should have something if you're investing in. I mean, maybe they probably shouldn't have, in hindsight, right? As always, 2020, maybe they should have just bought Bitcoin, but there's really no way for them to do it other than kind of through, things like this. But it is a small portion, and it's funny, it's hindsight, but if it had gone the other way, they would have been going like, this is amazing, right? So it's kind of, I think people have to take, everybody's different, and I think you have to, everybody's risk tolerances are different for investing. Mine is completely different than probably everybody's watching here, for different things, and you have to take those risks. Obviously they're investing other people's pension money, but that's what they're supposed to do, and you want them to make money, but it doesn't always happen. That's, as you find out, I think, as you do your own investing, it doesn't always work out in your favor for things, but you do have to take that, risk, calculated risk for yourself that you're comfortable with. So that's how I kind of look at it. When I look at my portfolio, am I comfortable putting, X amount of dollars in something that's way more speculative than, for example, a blue chip S&P ETF, S&P ETF that is pretty mainstream. But this, if you're okay to take that risk, then I think that's okay, right? If you're not, that's okay too. Doesn't really, so we'll see what happens with that. I guess there's probably a lot of unhappy teachers in Ontario. Maybe, I think it worked out to, I read somewhere it worked out to about, it wasn't it's such a, it was, I mean, in the big picture of things, it wasn't a huge amount, but obviously I think it's just the optics of it all, and the press likes to glob onto that kind of stuff. So which is unfortunate, because I kind of see a long-term hopefully increase in that space. And I think there's a few other people probably watching, like I know Dinosaurus Rex is into crypto a little bit, but everybody's different. And that's kind of all the news I had today. No plans for any new. I did my deposit kind of this week, but no plans for today to do any new deposits or anything like that. Just kind of ride out Friday, try and relax on the weekend. Obviously, no streams on the weekend. Just relax and worry about the market come Monday. And great question. Okay, new question. Is there amount? Oh, you'd have to figure that out. Yeah, I mean, you can total that up, right? If the stock is, you always get even if you only own one share, you still get the dividend as long as you hold it on the date that they're as long as you hold it on the date of before the ex dividend date. As long as you own them, you'll still get the dividend, Dinosaurus Rex. But you'd have to work that out. So I mean, if the stock is, let's say it's 9 cents every quarter, I mean, you'd have to kind of look, and you could work that out, how much you would need to buy one share. What's the price today? Let's just figure that out. Because the one thing with Rogers is it's not a very expensive one. So they don't have a lot of, they don't have like fractional shares. So if it's 588 divided by, you need to own you need to own just over 65. So you'd have 66 shares would give you enough quarterly to buy one more in dividends. So 66, so let's just say 66 shares. We'd have to work that out on today's price. And what is it? What did I say it was? 588, we'll say. So you need $388.08 to hold for the quarter. Then you get it in a quarter. Yeah, you just work it out, because it basically pays per share, right? So the dividend is 9 cents. I think it was 9 cents, if I'm correct, quarterly. So that's every 3 months, but every 3. Sorry, I'm getting confused with my calculations. Every three months, every quarter. You just have to really kind of divide it. I mean, obviously the dividend could change, but that's kind of what you could expect to go forward on that one. So it kind of goes with that. I mean, where it's harder to kind of reinvest into. I mean, $400 is $400. It's not nothing, right? But if you're talking like some of the bigger, even ETFs or some of the bigger shares, it's more difficult to get a full one. Like for example, BTC.Y. What did that pay last? Let's just check. BTC.Y they pay monthly. They paid, what did they pay last? BTC.Y paid like 11.118113. So like, let's just round it to 12 cents. Obviously you need a lot more shares of VDY to be able to get, dividends from a full share. But like something like that, what I've started doing is just when the dividend comes through is just do a fractional purchase of that. Now you can't, with Wealthsimple, you can't do an you can't automatically purchase it. You have to go in, and because it's a self-managed account, right? You have to go in and make that trade with your dividend when it comes through. So just something to be aware of. But if you have your notifications on, you always get that email that will pop up in your inbox and say, you've received a dividend from VDY. It's typically in your account by the time you check that email, and then you can make as long as it's come through on a weekday when the market's open, you can go in and roll that back into a fractional share if you want, or wherever, put it wherever. It's up to you. Whatever you want to kind of do with it. Yeah. So I've just started rolling them back in. And then, for example, like I had the Slate Office REIT one come in earlier this week, but it's not enough to buy a share yet. So and that one doesn't have fractional shares. So I just topped it up with a few dollars, just to be able to buy one. It's not a huge, obviously not a huge deposit, but I think every little bit helps, slowly but surely. Oh, no worries. Well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for Julius Caesar. Thanks for coming by and just saying hi. Appreciate all the views. Thanks. It's always great. I understand. Sometimes morning time is not always the best time for people, but if you can't catch it live, pop in, say hi, and jump out and catch the replay. Scroll through, might be some little tidbit. I always know like live streams are never as exciting after the fact. That's just, I think, how live streams work. But I know there's some few people that watch. So if you have some time, put it on, let it play in the background. You might hear something that might kind of hear and want to listen to that section. I wish there was maybe a way to bookmark certain times. I guess I could go back and do that, but that's a lot of work to clip the times. But maybe in the future, if that works on live stuff. It's just fun to jump on and to see what's happening mostly. And it's Friday, so if people are starting work early, I don't know, depending where people are. I've got actually a busy day today. Got busy all of a sudden, which is good. I'm not going to complain, but it's always like Friday, you want to kind of wind down, but I don't think it's going to happen today. When I shouldn't have checked my email first thing in the morning. I should have waited till 9 o'clock. I wouldn't be so having to worry about it. But the good thing is, if you're working, it means that I'll be able to make further investments, which is good. But other than that, that's the news I had today. I don't know if anybody else has anything that popped up in their news feed or anything else that anybody wants to talk about. Do let me know. I did buy Tesla today, and of course, it's Murphy's Law, right? Whenever you buy something, it always comes down. But I wish, you always wish you had more, because the CDRs, it's down today a little bit, which, whatever, is what it is. That's going to be a long-term hold for me. I don't know what's happened. I think Tesla had I think people read into it maybe a bit too much, but like Tesla had a recall, I guess, of some vehicle. I kind of saw that pop up. They have recalled like 30,000 Model X cars because of an airbag issue, which and then earlier this month they recalled, it says here, 40,000 Model S and X vehicles due to some kind of power steering issue. So that's never good when there's recalls. But like every car manufacturer has a recall for whatever reason. It doesn't mean they're bad companies. It just seems to always happen. I mean, I've had recalls on I think on every car I've probably every car I've owned. I've even had stuff come in the mail for a car I haven't owned for 10 or 12, like 10 years, because I guess I was still on the database from the company that I had bought one at one point, and it had a thing saying I forget what it was for. I don't even remember. I looked at it, I'm like, I haven't owned this car. I've traded that car in like 10 years ago. And even my latest car, like I've had, you always get weird ones too. It was something to do with the windshield wipers. That would something to do with, it wasn't the sensor, but it was something to do with like the switch or something. Sometimes wouldn't turn on properly, so they replaced them all. I don't know. Mine seemed to always work, but that's the thing. Like one or like there'll be a couple of issues, and like how many thousands and thousands of cars they sell, but then they have to recall all of them that have that, I guess, that production run, right? If they've had issues, which is never, I guess, never good, but you want it to be safe, but it doesn't necessarily mean, I don't know, worry about the stock. Sometimes the market, I guess sometimes sometimes the market just like overreacts with any little thing. I think especially because it seems like Tesla and like Elon is like super under the spotlight right now because of the whole Twitter thing. He's like apparently laid off a bunch of people. I'm on Twitter, and it's all over. If you're on Twitter, it's all kind of all over the place. And he's got rid of a lot of the staff. Apparently they locked the building, like locked people out of the building or something. I don't know obviously all the details, but I think he's just cleaning house. Because I mean, you buy a company you pay, what do you pay, $44 million or $1 billion for it? It's like you want to make sure that the company you're buying is going to make money. And if there's a lot of redundancies, you gotta trim it, especially because it's no longer a public company. You can't hide behind that anymore. Because if you go out of business, you go out of business. And all your money gone. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with. He's always under the spotlight, but it's like, I don't know. I think as a CEO or somebody running these companies, and he's a smart guy. He's obviously a little bit out there, almost like insane, one of those like insane geniuses that you kind of hear with his ideas and stuff that you think he's almost out to lunch, but then you realize he's put, his companies have put people in space. So you hopefully have a bit of faith in the long term that, Tesla will come around. It'll be good for us. We'll see. And then let me just check in terms of the channel update. I talked about this yesterday. I've been back and forth with Candace. She's not on today. She's probably busy day trading. So I've been back and forth with Candace. We're ironing out that date to do a live stream, a live together collaboration on there. So that will be a fun one. Really looking at that. Should be I think we're kind of ironed it down to kind of the beginning of December. So we'll get in before the Christmas, before people get really busy for Christmas, and it will be on a weekend. That's when kind of will work for both of us to jump on. So that would be awesome. And a bit different time. Well, obviously, it'd be a different time. That's what we're hashing out, is the time that work best, because we're both in different time zones. So it has to work out for both of us. That's the hard part about such a big country, that sometimes it's hard to get on the same page. But that will be a fun one once that goes. And that's in the works. As far as channel updates, I'll do another update from the portfolio after the market closes today. I always like to get one out on the weekend, so I will have an update on the weekend, see how we did for the week. I think we're kind of going to be rolling into it seems at this point, I mean, today's not going crazy yet, but we'll probably end with a bit of a loss for the week, which is never good. But we'll see how that goes. But I will post that on the weekend. And great question. That's a great question. Because Wealthsimple started this, you can now set up actual automatic purchases. I guess, I mean, obviously annually you're not going to get the same dollar cost averaging to kind of do a huge, whether you're like, say you're saving for the whole year and doing like a large lump sum once a year. I don't think annually necessarily makes, you're not going to necessarily take advantage of any. I mean, long term there will be dollar cost averaging. Obviously, it works out, but the time frame is so going to be so stretched out. But weekly, monthly, yeah, I would either do, like, if you're doing, what I would kind of recommend, this is what I kind of try and do, is if and I guess this would be better to explain how I have my RSP set up, maybe, is because I have that in Wealthsimple Invest, but I do it I have it come out, and this I think works for probably for most people, is I have it to come out, like if I have one that it's the account that Wealthsimple manages for me, I have it come out. It's kind of tied to pay every 2 weeks, so it's tied to payday coming in. So it's like I get paid, and then it goes automatically out to that investment. And I think if you did either weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, would be a benefit. But I would even say, if you have a allotted amount for a month, and let's just say it's $100, it could be whatever you're investing. It could be more, it could be less. I think whatever you invest is awesome, whether it's even $10 a month. If your budget is $100 a month, I would probably try and maybe split that over like twice, do it twice, twice a month, kind of tie with your payday. So if your budget's $100 and you get paid twice a month, put $50 every paycheck going into the same thing. Then you're going to dollar cost average, and you'll ride out those waves a lot faster. I think if you do it monthly, not so much, but in the long term, it will adjust it. I think the key with any kind of interval investing is you really have to make sure it works better when you have it set up to automatically do it, because it's one thing to have, if you're doing your self-directed account, it's one thing to automatically put $100, for example, into your account, say, every month, but then you have to be really diligent yourself to buy that stock, because for some reason, you go get your deposit in, and then that, for some reason, that stock's way up or it's way down, you might start to second guess yourself. So if you're going to do the automatic thing like that, you almost want to really make sure you're invested. I think it takes the emotion out of it to have it go directly to the one you want to right away. So it's like you're out of that, you're out of that decision factor, and that's a good way to dollar cost average, is to kind of take your emotions out of it. So hopefully that helps, Jason. And I think from people watching, like, I've had questions before, like, how much should I do? It doesn't matter how much, as long as you do, as long as you do something, right? Like, everybody's kind of different. So if you could put $10 a weekend, that's awesome, especially if you're first starting out. I think if you have a job and you can, put in, even if it's $5 a week, you'll see that really grow over 10 or 20 years if you start doing that. So that's just that's how I kind of feel. That's one thing I do like about to talk about that a bit more, Jason. There's obviously other investment. I use Wealthsimple, but there's other ones. If you're on somewhere else, they'll have those. But the Robo Invest Side Advisor, if you're wanting to do things on autopilot and just do a deposit and let them decide, based on your risk tolerances, it takes a lot of the emotion out, which I think is, for some people, is probably a good thing. And it just it doesn't easy. It's easy to do, and it's consistent. And sometimes, consistency will win. If you look at something over the long term, if you're dollar cost averaging into something, like, the consistency will win out over, like, the emotion of trading a little bit. So, good. No, I'm not a big Thomas, and welcome to a good comment. I'm not like a and sorry, and I think you follow up with that, is with, like, not day trading. Not really. I'm not a big chart person. I'll look at them, but I'm not definitely proficient in reading to see what's going on with more, like, the more technical analysis of it. If you are watching, I don't know if you're subscribed to Mountain Finance. She does a bit more of the chart stuff. That would probably maybe check that channel out if you're not already subscribed. I know she has she does have a couple of videos on technical analysis, and she's Canadian based as well, so might be a channel to check out, but I don't. I'll look and I'll read the news, Thomas, on what kind of is happening with the market to kind of see, you look at what the futures are happening and see, you get a bit of more, you kind of start to see the sentiment of how the day is going to happen. But I'm not really a day-to-day trader on there. So can't help you too much, but hopefully that helps. Hopefully it helps by not helping. Sorry, I will, let me grab her link. I'll give me 1 sec here. I will find it. Let me find her link. I know she's got, she goes into a bit more of the, obviously technical. I think that should train. There you go. There's a link down there. You can check that out after the stream if you want. But I'm positive she has a chart video. She'll probably hear her name being said somehow and jump in, but I'm pretty sure she has a chart video for technical analysis. And I know she's Thomas. I know she's working on, obviously you said not day trading, but I know she's working on some, because she does do day trading, but she's very like kind of researched and level-headed for the most part. So she's on that kind of like, we're on the same kind of pages in terms of our, how we talk about investing. It kind of like that. Yeah. I mean, humble. Yeah. We're just kind of, she's not there to pump anything and that kind of stuff. She's very researched and technical. Her background, her background from what I understand is she was like, she did some education and training and stuff like that with her when she worked with her different jobs. So she kind of comes at that direction. So some good videos you want to check out. I mostly share my portfolio, it's just kind of like on this channel. Obviously, thanks for joining. Thanks for coming on. It's mostly, I share my investments, kind of how I'm feeling about the market, but don't get into like really technical deep dives of any kind of particular stock. There's definitely smarter people out there that will get into the nitty gritty of things. I'm just kind of a regular investor trying to make some investment long term. Is, I guess, would be the best way to describe that. So, but appreciate it and check out her channel. It's always good to see new people. My coffee's almost finished. And that means that we're actually kind of coming up to the end. So we try and go for about 45 minutes here. So I do appreciate everybody that's joined on. It's always fun. We've been going for about 45 minutes now. It goes so fast. That's what I always believe. You turn on the live stream and you're like, oh, I wonder if anybody's going to show up. And then inevitably we always get on a tangent and we get some great questions. And we usually always have a good time talking to everybody and finding out new things, what people are into, all that kind of stuff. And Brookfield versus, why Brookfield over TransAlta? So I have TransAlta. So if you look at, I have both in the renewables. I have both in mind. I'm not sure of that question, but I have both. I was hoping TransAlta would do better, but they just they had some issues with their wind farm. They just haven't caught a break. It looks like, but we'll see long term how that goes. The dividends have been pretty consistent, so I've been able to average my cost down a little bit slowly with that one. And then the Brookfield, if you're talking about Brookfield Asset Management, that's a brand new holding for me. I just have a small fractional share of that, and the Brookfield Asset Management is, I'm doing a challenge for a year to basically, Tom, you probably maybe haven't caught the channel, but there's that logo for StreamYard. So I canceled my subscription and I used the free version to save myself it worked up to like $33 a month. So what I'm doing is taking the $33 and putting it every month, every first of the month, taking that money into Brookfield Asset Management, buying a fractional share, and just to see what happens in a year, how much I actually saved by not doing the subscription. So, and there's a few other people that have kind of done we should do another update video. I'll do an update video on that kind of as it goes along, but there's a few other people that have kind of cut back on the whole kind of challenge is to cut back on some kind of subscription or monthly reoccurring bill that you had, whether it's like Netflix, Disney Plus. Someone's not buying lottery tickets for a month, and there was like that, any kind of like reoccurring bill you can kind of like cut off to save some money and put it into an investment just to see what happens. That was the goal for 1 year. So it's only been going for a month, but you can always check that out. It's in the there's a video about the challenge on the channel. You can go back, catch the back catalog. But appreciate it. So coming up to the end, that's it. It's Q2. We'll start to wind down. Just want to thank everybody for, if there's any last minute kind of comments or questions, fire them in. But I did just want to thank everybody for joining. We get more and more people every day. We always get some good questions, some good conversation going. And usually try and find some good news about the market, usually for the most part, and try to get a good job, because I know it's not necessarily the greatest time to be investing out there right now. Obviously, no, I think it is a good time, but it's not the easiest time, just with the way the market is, and with obviously money's tight for everybody with inflation and all this kind of stuff. But I think if we buckle down, kind of try and be frugal, save our pennies where we can, to be able to try and keep at least investing a little bit into things that we have a long-term horizon on. I think we'll be rewarded in the long term, and it's great to have everybody following along. I think we're all on the same page with that. So we'll leave it at that, and I think that's a great way to end it. Stan, have a great weekend, everybody. I will be back over the weekend. There'll be a video posted with the portfolio update. Obviously, I like to do that always at the end of the week, see how the week did. So check that out when you're around. Hopefully, you have a chance to get outside on the weekend. Maybe the weather. It's obviously winter now. You can really feel that, but at least hopefully get outside. Don't pay attention to your portfolio maybe, and just kind of get out and get some fresh air. And then we'll be back Monday for another live stream, Monday 8 a.m. So thanks so much, everybody. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Dinosaurus, for joining, Thomas, and everybody else, Jason, all the regulars, Zach. I think I've got everybody. Hopefully Stan was in the beginning, and then everybody has to kind of jump off for work. So we start off, as always, a little bit relaxing with the fireplace. We'll wind out. We'll keep the fireplace going for a while so you can kind of relax, get into your day now, and then have a good weekend, everybody. Let's put that on as we sign off. Thanks so much. It's always so much fun to do these things.